Well, I think I'm live. I'm pretty sure. If anybody joins me and you are like coming into it late or jumping into it right now, that's cool. Here I am. So plan for the day is to do a live stream where we just kind of answer some like Q&A. Currently doing a series all about designing and coding a responsive landing page from start to finish. I'm taking my lunchtime for about maybe 30 minutes. That's what you can expect. So just be answering questions about that series and then questions in general. If you have any sort of questions, I have some pretty awesome questions that people already kind of submitted on Twitter. So if you were one of those folks, thanks for doing that. And I have a few questions that were kind of like posted. Let me see. Hey, how's it going, Ryan? How's it going, Jojo? Where can you learn UI and UX? We're going to get to some of those awesome questions just in a second, but I really want to honor the people that submitted some stuff on Twitter and answer, some of those questions first because they got in early, you know what I mean? But where's everybody from? Where's everybody like checking stuff out from or watching this from? I am in my office, my home office, because I work remote for a startup, if you didn't know. And so Egypt, that's awesome. From the UK. All right. What's going on, Francisco? Hello. Thanks so much for your support. Thanks for stopping by on the live feed. We're just answering some questions, and I'm going to get to the first one. What's up, Chicago? What's up, Germany? We're going to get to the first question right now. So this one comes from DHR on Twitter. It says, looking for job postings, and Sketch is one of the requirements. As a PC user, is there any way I can teach myself Sketch without a Mac? He says he's learning Adobe XD right now. Lastly, any advice for young UX designers coming out of college? Okay, so kind of two questions. I'm going to start with the first one. He's a PC user and he wants to learn Sketch because that's a requirement. Unfortunately, like it's a Mac only platform, which kind of stinks because it's a really great platform in my opinion. It's like the main tool that I use to do interface design and do like web work. So I think in my opinion, the closest like competitors right now is probably Adobe XD or something like Figma. Figma, man, I really like Figma a lot. If you're out there and you're using Figma, like chime in the chat and tell me what your experience is with it, because I think it's super awesome. There's just a couple things I can't fully like get on board with, and there's a lot of the workflow in Sketch, like the way that I use plugins and the way that I do work and set up, you know, like my files and everything. I'm just super used to, but that's one of those things. Like I was super used to Photoshop like 6 years ago, and it was a really hard transition to get into something else. That's just kind of how it tends to be. So to answer your question, I don't think that there's a way for you to learn Sketch without actually having it, you know, and using it. But I think there's some hacky ways you can run like Mac OS X, like on a PC. Don't quote me. But I think that you could probably apply for those jobs, in my opinion, saying you use similar tools like Adobe XD. And who knows, like maybe if it's a really rocking like startup position or a job that you're like applying for, maybe they'll help you get an Apple computer and you can start using Sketch. Any advice to young UX designers just coming out of college? My advice for anybody that's just getting into like the design field in any area of design, and if you've watched any of my videos, you've probably heard me say this like dozens of times, is you just need to make stuff. Like make tons of stuff and make stuff that's awful. You know, learn by failing, learn by doing, do lots of work, whether it's concept work or work for friends or work for free, but get your foot in the door by actually putting some hustle. I feel like just as a society, we've kind of lost the idea of hard work ethic. So go out and watch some Gary Vee videos and let him fire you up and kick your butt a little bit into gear and tell you how like the hours between, you know, like 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. are crucial, like grinding hours if you really want to like get the momentum started. So that's kind of my advice there. There is no Sketch for PC. Oh, there is a Sketch for PC. It's called Lunacy. Okay, listen, we're going to talk about design tools really quick. I'm going to mention a few things. When it comes to design tools, sitting down in my dock right now, I have InVision Studio. I have like the early beta of InVision Studio that I've been playing with. if you want to talk about design tools, the one that I'm really excited about is not necessarily InVision Studio, and it's not necessarily Figma. I think it's called Phase, and I'm waiting for the early beta of that one to come out, because they're starting to address screen-based design, less on screen-to-screen kind of designs. Like, I'm going to duplicate everything I did on this artboard, move it over to this artboard, and they're building it from the ground up, thinking of like interactions. So go check out Phase. I'm just highly excited for like their release. And if any, if anybody knows anybody that works at Phase, tell them to get me on the early beta, because I really want to check it out. Okay, I'm going to answer another Twitter question, and I'm going to start getting some of these questions in the chat. I only got about 30 minutes or 35 minutes or so because I'm on my lunch. So let's see. Top 5 skills that an effective UX designer, web developer needs. Oh man, that's a big question. That's a loaded question. I feel like, I'm actually going to be doing a video pretty soon with like a guest, like a special guest talking about soft skills. So keep an eye out for that video coming. But I would say, like, in any, doesn't matter what kind of like medium you are operating in, whether that's design or code or whatever, I feel like some of those things you see on resumes, like good communication skills, like solid person, they kind of boil down to just being an awesome person, having hard work ethic, being resourceful, not being willing to just give up and say, I don't know how to do that, but go out and figure out how to do that, whether that's design or code. I feel like those soft skills are super duper important. And we're going to talk about those more in a future video. So I don't want to answer it too much. What do you think, Sam McKenzie writes, is your best investment so far in terms of improving your workflow or just your job in general, like software, hardware, maybe even a good chair or monitor? Okay, I'm going to talk like tangible things, and then I'm going to talk about like educational things. So tangible things, the standing desk that I'm working at right now has been kind of a game changer, and the big 32-inch monitor that I have sitting on my desk as well. I stand like 95% of the time when I work, and I feel like it's just kind of helped my productivity. The 32-inch monitor, it's a LG 32-inch high def, blah, blah, blah monitor. There's just so much screen real estate that I can do so much. If I'm editing video, or if I'm doing design, or I'm doing code, I can have so much there. And I just feel like it's a very useful thing for me. So that's kind of like tangible things. Non-tangible things, I feel like the most valuable thing, let's see, best investment so far. My best investment, I'm going to be dead honest, has been in friendships and in investing in people. I feel like that's a much more beneficial thing than just learning this or learning that. Is learning how to actually care for people, communicate with people, be friends with people, give to people, serve people. Because you create friendships, you create relationships, and those are much more beneficial in the long run than anything you could learn or do. Okay, one more Twitter, and then we're going to get to these ones in the comments. Super stoked that you guys are all joining me today for the live Q&A. Let's see. Want to know your opinion on whether it's still worth learning jQuery in 2018. Some people still think it's outdated. Like, short answer, yes, because I forget some ridiculous statistic, like 70% of the web uses jQuery. So if you're like a developer and somebody asks you to like jump on a project that's already been created and fix some things up, 70% likely that it has jQuery like rocking on it. So jQuery in general, though, like the question, is it worth learning? Yes, but I feel like if you just learn JavaScript, jQuery makes a lot of sense, and you're just learning like different like methods and attributes and stuff that you can use in jQuery that make you write less and do more, right? That was like their thing. So learn JavaScript, in my opinion, and then the basics of JavaScript will help you to understand whether it's like vanilla JavaScript or jQuery, or even if you want to start learning something like a new JavaScript framework like React or Vue or Ember or any of those, knowing the foundations of JavaScript is really the key. So I'd say go that route, and then peek in and see what's going on with jQuery. Learn a couple of the foundations. That's, in my opinion, one of the things that you can learn as you go if you needed to. Okay, that's enough with the Twitter questions. Thanks for all those awesome Twitter questions. All right. Let's see. Questions in the comments. Hello from Denmark. How do you deal? Hey, Soon. How are you doing? How do you deal with the backend on the website you deliver for your clients? Okay. Great question. Not every project or client needs a CMS. Not every project needs a backend. So I feel like a great underlying question to that, or kind of like topic, is making sure that you give the client or the project what they need, not more and not less, just exactly what they need, right? So I'm going to come up with a hypothetical situation. Somebody comes to you and says, hey, I need a website. I need a single page landing page to promote my, my new pop-up shop or my company. Can you help me out? Sure, absolutely, I can help you out. What you don't want to do is recommend to them that they go out and build some monstrous like WordPress thing running e-commerce. It's just overkill. They didn't ask for that. They don't need that. Now, I think that there's a way that you can always build things that are extendable. So in that use case, like they probably need a static website. Like this is like just happened to me the other day. I'm about to rebuild like a site, I can't say which site, but I'm about to rebuild a site, and somebody was talking to me and saying, I really think you should use Middleman, which if you don't know what Middleman is, it's like a static site generator, kind of like Jekyll, where you create basically like a templating, like you can template like different layouts and reuse those instead of hand coding HTML and CSS for the whole thing, right? It's kind of like the in-between, like before you get to a CMS. So you have some sort of like thematic or templating control. And after I thought about it for a little while, I went, there's a lot of problems. It didn't fit in with my workflow and my starting files and all my tooling like Gulp and Bower and all the things that I use. I'm like, this is really weird. I'd have to learn how to do this. And I stopped and just said, like, do I need to do this? It's kind of like overkill. Is that necessary? And in the end, it wasn't necessary. So don't do something that's unnecessary. If you do need a backend, I think, I'm not going to recommend which one, but I think you can look and see a lot of CMSs offer different things. So WordPress might work because it has a lot of plugins, a lot of things you can do. Something like, I'm not going to get all opinionated with CMSs because people get all like aggro and opinionated with CMSs, but just choose the right one for the project. Look at what their key features are and look at what they offer and how you can extend with that thing, right? Be forward thinking about the project. Your client will really appreciate it. Okay. I don't know what the name is. Nicole Getho. That's an awesome screen name. Hard to pronounce. I want to be a UI UX designer, but my portfolio is only made up of concept projects that I use Sketch to create. Am I going down the right path? Heck yeah, you're going down the right path. If you didn't watch my series on how to get started in design, like you're right there. You're right in the process, right? Like what else can you do if you don't have any clients? You make concept work. And then you make better concept work. And then you take that concept work and you leverage it to do work for friends and family. Hopefully Aunt Susie or mom or dad think you're finally good enough to do their website or their business card or their whatever. Okay, so leverage it there. Once you've done that, okay, maybe they can give you a recommendation. Maybe you make a website or, something for a friend and they know somebody else that needs one. Now you're getting a paying client. You're probably really cheap. After that, you leverage that, get your foot in their door, go to your local businesses or people that you see online, hustle on Instagram and Twitter and say, hey, I'm willing to do work like this. Go find another designer like me or somebody else online and say, hey, are you doing work? I would love to just, can I work alongside of you? Like I won't get in your way. I just want to make something. And if you like it, you can use it for free. Now you've worked with a known designer who's working on paying projects. Okay. It's just part of, I feel like it's the same in any industry. If you wanted to be an accountant, you go to school, but then you have no like experience in being an accountant. You can't just jump in and be like top tier of the industry, right? You got to start at the bottom and crunch some numbers. So you got to crunch some stuff to make it happen. Should I learn graphic design or web design? Danar Solar says. First of all, let me just say, Jason, what's up? How you doing? Okay. Should you learn graphic design or web design? I really feel like you should just learn foundations of design and apply that where your heart leads you, right? If you really love the web, you're going to apply those foundations of design, right? Like typography and all of those basic, you know what? If you want to learn foundations of design, you want to just know what they are really, really quickly. I'm going to look right now for the link, but Canva is like a free design tool. They have an awesome like design school type thing online. Yeah, just look up, just do a Google search for Canva Learn Design. And they have a bunch of these like free graphic design courses or just design fundamental courses that you can like kind of walk through. Really good, like pretty awesome that they've done that. But those are some of those basic foundations that you need to apply, whether it's web or graphic or UI or UX or whatever you want to do. Learn the foundations. The foundations take you a really, really long way. Is there a specific course that can teach you web design? Yeah, I'm sure there are. You know, there's tons of courses all over the place. I am a true believer that you should learn foundations, but then really, really quickly you should pivot to start using those foundations and just making tons of stuff. I feel like people who just grind and hustle and actually make stuff are better off than people who sit around and learn. We live in a generation where there's a lot of online education, a lot of access to education, and a lot of people are starting to become addicted to education, becoming like lifelong students and never practitioners. So practition as soon as you can. I want to start doing Fashion Lover 15. What's up? How you doing? Thanks for joining me. I want to start doing freelance web design, but I'm an introvert and you're not good at selling yourself to people in person. Do you recommend sites like Upwork to get clients? Ooh, this is a really, really tough one. Okay, not everybody's an extrovert. Not every, you know, some people are extroverts, some people are introverts. I'm actually a really weird mix of both. But can you be an introvert and successfully, you know, be a freelance designer? I think you can. I think that the work can speak for itself. I think that your like commitment to like excellence and doing good work and commitment to a client does not necessarily mean you have to be a good salesman and talker. I think being a good salesman and talker helps. So it might be a thing where you might want to think about, you know, bringing somebody on who's more of like the sales or business side of things. They can help you with all of that. I would maybe think about that. I don't usually recommend sites like Upwork or Fiverr because maybe in the rare kind of like recommendation, you want to go out and cut your teeth and get a couple projects under your belt, but you just like, it's not really establishing firm value for you as a creative. It's saying, hey, I'll do this at the lowest possible cost versus I want to do good work and be paid appropriately for that good work. That's just my opinion. Don't take that to the grave. Don't quote me on it. But I think you can be a freelancer and still be an introvert. And maybe what would help you, I think you can do it on your own, but maybe what would help you is bringing on somebody who's good at the sales portion. How much vanilla JavaScript should one need to know to get any front-end developer job? You should do a quick Google search for FizzBuzz. You should be able to program a simple FizzBuzz like application, like, you know, within a short amount of time, which is basically like the Fibonacci sequence and like creating that. You should be able to do basic, like go into the DOM, like, you know, pull things out by like ID or class name and do a little bit of interactivity. You should be able to know, you know, how to set up, if you don't know how to write like something into the document window. And so when it's ready, like fire off different things when you interact with buttons, you probably just, those are a basic start. It kind of depends on, it's a hard question because it kind of depends on the job. So I think any good baseline for somebody to know JavaScript is probably look up a FizzBuzz challenge or the Fibonacci sequence and see if you can do that. Once you can do that, I'd say you're probably pretty on par for a junior like front-end developer position, because it probably depends a lot on what they use, right? So, okay, good question though. Let's see. I really enjoy, there's so many questions. I want to answer them all. You guys are awesome. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, okay, cool. Here's a good question from Francisco up top. I'd like to know if there's a good chance to do remote web design work for clients in the US if I'm from Mexico, and how do you recommend to approach them? Wow, that's a really, really good question. I don't want to like sound like I'm banging the same drum or beating a dead horse or whatever, but like I feel like you can do good work and the work will speak for itself. We kind of are lucky. We live in this amazing like internet age where you can work from anywhere, be anywhere, talk to anyone from anywhere practically. So have really, really great work, have a great portfolio that kind of speaks for itself, and then start kind of using that portfolio and pitching yourself to designers you can work with, clients you could work for. How do you approach them? Approach them like, you know, you have a problem and I can solve it for you. I think that's always the way as designers, at least, that we should approach clients or projects is, I want to know what the project is. Hey, actually, a good recommendation for you, Francisco, is I just watched a great episode on freelance.tv, which is made by a guy named Dan Petty, awesome designer, super cool guy. I don't know him. He just seems super cool online. But he just did an episode that I watched. I forget the guy's name. I'm looking it up right now for you, Francisco. Okay. He had a great episode with Dan Mall, but the one I really liked was with Jared Arondu. So watch Jared Arondu's episode because he kind of talks about that a little bit when he's approaching clients. One of the recommendations I thought was like lights out amazing was he said when he was pitching for clients, people who are like really big established designers, they may not have the time to do a lot of the extra investigative or research work for that client. But if you're really hungry and really passionate about getting the job before you even like really pitch anything, is take the time and research that company, he said, and come up with like 3 things right now that you could do to help solve some sort of problem. Like, hey, so-and-so company, you know, I really would love to do work for you. Side note, I looked at your site and here's the 3 things I would do right now to fix your site. What you've done is you've told them, I'm more than just like a pixel pusher. I'm a consultant. I know how to fix your problem. I'm already thinking of it. I'm already on it. And that might be the thing that like gives you an upper hand to other people who are like maybe pitching for jobs. Okay. Do you use Redo with React? Love your videos. I'm actually just learning React. Like, I haven't had to use it a whole lot. I'm kind of learning Vue.js and React side by side, so I don't feel comfortable answering that question because I'm not an expert with it. But I do know a lot of people who do use React and they use Redo with React. I'm just going to give you that, Robert. Thanks so much for the question. I wish I knew more, but I'll tell you what, as I learn more, I'll share what I've learned so that you guys all know. Okay, let's see. Christina asks, how do you recognize that web design front end is your thing or that this is your passion? I think it's like, how do you recognize that anything is your thing or your passion? You probably got to try it a little bit, see if it's for you, see if it like got you excited or stirred up your passions for it. If you don't like code after you try it for a little bit, I don't know, maybe it's not for you. Maybe you are more like driven towards like the design way of solving problems versus the code way of solving problems. That's my like short answer to that is like, how do you know unless you try it a lot, right? Like try it at least a couple times. Don't be like my 6-year-old daughter who says like, she's never tried something and says, I don't like that dinner, I'm not going to eat it. Don't be like that. Be an adult and say like, I'm going to try it and see, right? So, I mean, within reason. If you have no interest, maybe just don't try it. Like I don't have a lot of interest in gardening. I mean, I'm probably not going to go try it because it's not my thing. Although I might have an interest in skydiving, so I might go try that. I've never done it before, right? Okay, cool. Hey, what's up? Poundra Putra, I think that's your name, from Indonesia. Sorry if I murdered it. I'm so sorry. I'm really, really bad at names. But I'm really excited that you're here. Really appreciate that. Question specifically for Sketch. Sometimes I'm confused when I use 1600 pixel or 1440 pixel width. Any suggestions, Webflow or WordPress for a client? Those are 2 questions. That's 2 good questions. I think that, you know, 960 obviously is a grid that's a bit small. I think doing something like 1100 or 1440, whatever you want to do, something like that is good. I do think based on kind of like standard kind of design principles, there should be a cutoff. I'm not one who personally believes that, you know, that text should span the width of the browser, even if I have a 32-inch. That's just bad. Like it's hard to read, right? So you should have some sort of governance on the way that widths and margins of text are. That's fine. You should have that. How wide do you want like a big hero image to go? I mean, be creative, do your thing. See, it's really about what looks right, what feels right at that point. So I tend to do like website designs at like 1440. I don't know why. That's just where I'm at right now. I think probably in the back of my mind, there's some sort of data or analytics that says most people are on a larger size, like resolution screen nowadays, so they can handle that at least. But you should always be planning for responsive design anyways, right? So seeing how it looks at all different phases. So that was a good question. Thanks a lot. Webflow or WordPress for a client? Previous question we answered was use what you need, use what's right for the project. Don't bring a tank to a knife fight. Okay, On the go art. I'm working hard to build a fan base as well as working on a story. My issue is, should I offer it for free as a webcomic or should I try to send it to a publisher? It's a good question. I don't know much about publishers. I don't know much about webcomics either. I'm interested in the webcomic. What's it about? Tell me. I like stories. It sounds like story writing and comics is like a passion of yours. I think it kind of depends what you want out of it. Are you trying to get rich off of your webcomic? I don't know. Like maybe. I feel like I'm not experienced enough to answer that question on the go art, but I really, really appreciate you stopping by. I would never want to answer your question, give you advice that I don't wholeheartedly believe in. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Is there any other I feel like a lot of these questions are similar, so I don't want to like waste time and re-answer things. What are the things that Ariel Contreras writes? What are the things that someone in a full-time unrelated field can do to start setting themselves up for a UI UX design job? You can start moonlighting right now. You can start using your midnight hours, your late night hours, and start learning, practicing, producing, creating, making stuff. And basically, like, that's what you need to start doing, right? Like, if let's say you're working at a sandwich shop and you hate working at a sandwich shop, but you can't just like give up the sandwich shop because it's paying the bills, right? And you want to do like UI design or something. So start learning, start doing, start practicing, start getting some clients or some low paying clients, and then, you know, parlaying that into more and more and more. Then maybe at a certain point, you want to just like cut down your hours at the sandwich shop so you can up your hours doing this. And when you can legitimize like cutting this out fully, the sandwich shop out fully, then do it. Like, but don't just quit your day job right now and be like broke or whatever. I mean, pay your bills. So you got to do that. But it really, I think in the end, it's like that it's a super buzzword right now, like Gary V hustle. Like sometimes you just got to hustle for something you really, really want. Otherwise, did you really want it that bad? Okay, that's kind of my answer for that. Let's see. What do you recommend getting a job first? Gain some experience. I feel like I've answered that, so I don't want to quite retread that one again. Have you had to change anything on your website to improve the experience on the new phone? I am in the process of redesigning I don't know if, I think you're talking about my own personal website. I'm in the process of redesigning that thing because it's a Frankenstein that's gotten out of control over the past 4 years. And I'm really ashamed. I almost took it down like yesterday because I was like, this is getting out of hand. So I have done little like improvements basically to keep it from dying, from being decrepit and rolling over and dying. But I probably haven't done enough. I don't know, but I feel like that's probably most designers. The thing that they're worst at is upkeeping their own portfolio and their own work because we're too busy doing other stuff. So I will say, like, if you have a site that's like a site and it doesn't have any sort of like responsive nature to it, there are some things you can do like right away to add like a good responsive nature to the site. Dropping in a couple media queries. I like Brad Frost's kind of like take on doing responsive design, which is just make stuff that works and looks good, and then when it breaks, fix it, right? So he's kind of talking about it should look good on all screen sizes. Try to design stuff like that, but don't say like it has to be the tablet size or the mobile size. It's more just, hey, let it be what it is, let it be a design, and shrink it up, and where it starts falling apart and breaking, fix it. Drop a media query and do a different design for that dimension, right? So I like Brad Frost's take on it. Okay, made by salary. Hey, Jesse, what do you think about developing websites with WordPress and page builders like Elementor instead of Webflow? I say do what works for you. I actually just tried Webflow out for the first time the other day. It was pretty cool. I tried that and Rapid UI. I think web builders are super hot right now, not because people don't want to code, but I think that what's wrong with it? If it spits out good semantic code, like I don't really see a problem with that. I know a lot of people like designers who use Webflow and love it. And I say, man, power to you. Are you making money? Get it. Because like I'm not an artist. Like I'm a business person. I'm a designer, right? I'm a problem solver. So I want to solve a problem. And if I can do that efficiently and effectively, hand coding something, that's how I do it. If you can do it using another tool, man, right on. And maybe even if it works for you, I might try it out. So that's why I think sharing kind of workflows is kind of an important thing. Okay, Luke Hicks. What uni course is the best to get you into a UX UI design job in the future? Because I wasn't sure whether there is a UX university course. Okay, Luke Hicks, I'm betting you're like somewhere from the United Kingdom because you said uni somewhere. Because right, so university or college, is there a college course? Is there a university course that is specifically yeah, thank you, got you, Luke. Thanks for being here, man. That's specifically geared towards UI UX design. I don't know. I don't think there is. I mean, there might be a couple. My question is more like, is it worth it? It's not that I don't believe in college. Okay, I do believe in college. I just hate debt. I just don't think you should go $75,000 in school debt and be paying it back for the next 8 years. And if it's something that you can invest in yourself and you can raise to $8,000 to $10,000 to do a 12-week UX boot camp, I feel like that's actually going to be a better solution for you than the person who went to college for 4 years. I like college. I think it's great. I just think that, take it from somebody who actually went back to college. I'd already been in the industry, like doing design and doing development. And then I went back to a college. I won't say which one, but I didn't like it. It was like an accelerated 2-year bachelor program for web design development. And at that time, like, they were trying to teach me like Adobe Flash. And I was like, to program in Adobe Flash. I was like, this is not relevant right now. Why are we not learning JavaScript? I use JavaScript daily at my job, right? I was like going to school at night. So the problem with universities is they move a little bit slow. Whereas if you want to do specifically like UI or UX design, there's boot camps that are teaching you what's happening right now in the industry, and then most likely helping you with job placement after. I would look up some courses like that, some boot camps like that. Can I hire you for my project? Sure. Just gotta contact me on my website or hit me up on Twitter, and I'll talk to you about your project. Okay. What blah blah blah? Do you need a certificate for graphic design? No, you don't. No, absolutely not. People hired me before I had a certificate. People hired me before I had a degree. Paid me cold hard cash to do it. It was great. Any tips on how you personally go about learning new stuff? Do you plan for it? How do you combine it with existing work? Jason, I don't know how to say your name. Some horrible names. What do you mean by learn new stuff? What do you mean by learn new stuff? Like just learn new techniques, new technologies, I'm wondering what you mean by that. While you are maybe typing back another comment on what do you mean by that, I'm going to answer Maskood's question. Is Bootstrap good or bad? Bootstrap's just Bootstrap. I personally think right now, you should be learning CSS Grid, because Bootstrap is not necessarily bad. It's just a lot of extra like weight and heaviness that I don't personally think you need, right? I think also, if I was going to say one thing like negative against Bootstrap, it would be that it's kind of guilty of making websites look the same. Like, right? It's like, how do you want to do this? Do you want to have like put the hero here? Do you want a big button right there? Because they all kind of look the same. And then you have to do so much time to customize things. I just say starts from scratch. And CSS Grid is really the thing that is going to let you make like awesome like grids and do amazing layout. If you're really interested in learning CSS Grid, I recommend 2 kind of resources. Number 1, Jen Simmons. She's so smart. She's so stinking smart. She works for Mozilla, the Mozilla Developer Network, and she teaches all about CSS Grid. She's so phenomenal at it. Go check out Jen Simmons on YouTube. Great videos, great stuff. And then lastly, I'm going to put in a link right here into our little chat that we're having. This is the CSS Grid cheat sheet that I use a lot. I just kind of keep that up in the browser. It's a really quick like flashcard system to let me know what things are as I'm building sites. But you can build your own grid in like literally like 60 seconds. I feel like using CSS Grid. Okay, cool. Let's see, who was I? Jason, did you get back to me? You did. Learning new tech, JavaScript, Webflow, whatever new flavor. Don't worry about my name. It's Dutch Arabic. You sound like a complex dude that I'd love to have a cup of coffee with someday. Okay, and let's see. So yeah, how do I go about that? I actually did a video on that. You got to carve out like specific time to make sure that you are keeping up with things. So I did a video, a vlog one time about like waking up early in the morning and carving out 3 hours to learn, Webflow or Adobe XD or playing with CSS Grid. You just got to be intentional about it. It's intentionality. It's part of our job, right? Teachers have ongoing education that they need to do to be certified to teach children like we have to do. Unfortunately, tech moves fast. So just carve the time out and do it. But time box it so you don't spend so much of your time learning, because there's still work to be done, right? Let's see. How do you deal with revisions? Ooh, how do you deal with revisions? Do you agree on fixed number of revisions in contract? Yes, short answer, absolutely. And are you doing revisions just on wireframe or done mockup as well? Thanks a lot for amazing videos. Hey, thank you so much for being so appreciative. That's awesome. I'm gonna do this one and one more question, and then I gotta get back to work because my lunchtime's about over. How do I deal with revisions? Yes, I put number of revisions in the contract. 100% put them in the contract, because if you don't, things get out of scope really, really quickly. Okay, that's the first thing I do. Second thing I do to make sure that I stay under those amount of revisions is, if you watch the current series I'm doing right now, how to design a code responsive landing page, I go through how like each step, like I don't feel like I mentioned it good. So I'm just gonna mention it right now. There should be sign off from the client at the end of each one of those steps. Research, competitive set, are we going the right direction? Sign off, good, moving on. Style tile, visual direction. Do you like where we're going? Good. Sign off on it. Okay, next. Wireframe, structure, like everything, the skeleton. Do you like the way we're going? Sign off on it. That way, when you get to final designs and present it, they don't say, "Oh, we don't like those colors. We actually really wanted a dark interface with this." You go, no. You signed off back there on milestone 2 and milestone 3. So that's something I do as well. Lastly, when you do that, it helps clients to be part of the process. They feel like they've made decisions, kind of like Inception. It's like being the Leonardo DiCaprio of design. So you go 3 or 4 levels deep, right? They're with you every step of the way. And by the time they wake up, they're going, I made that decision, but really you did. That's how you do it. That's how I do it anyways. I don't know, but maybe other people do it differently. Okay, how do you manage work and private time with the family? Christina, that's like probably the best question that has been asked on this live video so far, because it's the most important topic, because family is way more important than work. Number one, I learned from a guy named Paul Boag, who you should go check out, really smart dude. Years and years and years ago, I heard him say that you can either build a business that runs your life, or you can build a lifestyle business that caters to your life, right? So you can either work to live or live to work. That's the short kind of thing of that. I'm a person who wants to build a lifestyle business. I'm the person who doesn't want to live to work. That's all I want to live for. No, I want to work to live, right? So I balance it that way. Like there's intentional time, there's phone down time, there's play time. One of the reasons I'm really excited to work remote is because my 5-minute breaks that I take, I go out and jump on the trampoline with my kids and play. It's hard. It's hard. But I think in the end, it has to be intentional. It has to be something you're thinking about. And if you're not, you need to start thinking about it, because it's more important to be a good husband, good wife, good father, good mother, good friend, good, all of those things than it is. Those are the things that at the end of your life that are more valuable than your portfolio, just straight up. I'm going to be honest with you guys. So care about those things first. That was a really awesome question. Thank you, Christina. Okay. Yeah, absolutely, for answering your question. Who is the CSS guru you mentioned on YouTube? Jen Simmons. You gotta check out Jen Simmons. She's crushing the game for CSS Grid. Also, you gotta check out Chris Coyier. He's a CSS guru as well. Gotta listen to his podcast with Dave Rupert called Shop Talk Show. Mind blown. Also, really love Wes Boss. Wes Boss has some great free courses you should go check out. Just do a quick Google for Wes Boss. He does a free JavaScript course. He's got a free new like Flexbox and CSS Grid course. And he's also got some paid courses for React and some different stuff. You want to learn Wes Boss, his teaching style, off the hinges as well. So really, really good stuff from those people. Okay. Those are my CSS gurus. I got time for maybe one more. And then I gotta get going. So I'm just looking through. Anybody have a question they feel like is the best question? Anybody have a question about the series that I'm doing right now? Anybody been watching the series and any suggestions? And we're actually about to jump into the coding portion of the series, where I'm going to be setting up a GitHub repo and inviting you guys to make pull requests on the project, and together collectively we're going to like make it an awesome project together. So that's a thing. So I hope you guys are excited about that. I really am. It's been a fun series, the biggest series we've ever done. So but sorry, Jesse Boss and Wes Boss, Chris Coyer, Jen Simmons. Also, oh, what is her name? Rachel Andrews, I think her name is. You can find her on Twitter. She created a CMS called Perch. If Anderson, I think something like that. Look her up. She's a very, very smart lady as well. Okay, cool. So I think that's kind of it. Last thing I'm going to say is just thanks. Thanks for stopping by the live chat. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. It's time for me to go finish my lunch and get back to grinding away at some stuff. And I had fun on the live Q&A. I might do another one soon. Let me know if you, why do I make YouTube videos? That's a great question. Let's end with that one. Why do I make YouTube videos? I make YouTube videos because I like teaching. I'm just kind of a talker, and it was something, there's a couple, I'm going to be like super transparent, a couple different reasons I wanted to make YouTube videos. One, it was kind of like, it's a fun thing to do. Number two, I like teaching and helping people. Number three, as a designer, I am constantly looking for routes of passive income. So I am trying to basically build my personal brand. I want to be somebody who's known as being helpful. I want to be known as somebody who is like available, like really like helping young designers. And I believe in people who are starting out and maybe locked into something or trapped into something that they're doing as a profession, don't want to. And there's a lot of freedom and joy and excitement in the field of design and development. And I think that more people should get into it. So I'm trying to help everybody to do it, because I was working in kitchens and somebody helped me get into it. So I'm trying to pay that forward a little bit. That's the biggest reason, is just paying it forward, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to put up a list on Twitter. I'll try to remember to put all the links that I mentioned. Yes. So to answer your question, I'll try to put all those links up on my Twitter account. If you're not following me, I am Jesse Show on Twitter. That's where you can find me. Same thing on Instagram if you want to follow me there. Thanks to everybody. It was super fun to chat with you guys. We'll be doing another one of these probably like at the next milestone in the project. And then maybe we'll probably do more of these regular, because I had a ton of fun. And that's actually more what it's all about. Is and if I can't, Dragon D, I can't answer your question. I got to get going. Oh, I hate not answering questions. Tell us flow from scratch to watch the series. That's my flow from start to finish. Scratch, answer your question. Okay. Peace out, everybody. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.